god, these picks are so fast.
I'm so excited for a Luna. Holy heck. I feel like I haven't seen a Luna for a while. She was really favored back in TI-10 qualifiers. She was picked a fair amount. Her and TB, I feel like, were the two big cores a lot of people were going for. And just haven't seen her since. For Southeast Asia, that is.
Yeah, I think Luna was a carry that everyone thought was like really, really good and like super like unbeatable, but then she got kind of figured out and then people stopped picking her as much.
Yeah.
I think that was just kind of like her life cycle, like I talked about before. And she sort of like fell off a bit. And other carries have come in and just been better. Obviously, like Tiny's ridiculous right now and has been like super in the front of the meta. And yeah, Luna took a bit of a sideline.
Yeah.
Then what do you think the reasoning for picking Luna here is for T1?
Seems just like the Juicer replacement, but maybe saying it's a bit more fast-paced. But I don't think there's like, yeah, to me I don't see the super strong reason, because I think Boom, there's a lot of heroes that can be picked into Luna and cause problems. I guess they're kind of torn into picking that carry first and getting like the Luna counters, the heroes that maybe outrange your TPs and stuff, which, I guess they banned TP in the earlier phase, which is where the Luna pick is a lot stronger, but Boom get the Ember. So
10 seconds remaining.
yeah, I don't know if that answered your question. I probably didn't really say anything about why Luna was picked.
Who cares? Let's hype up your Ember Spirit. Let's go, baby!
Well, I want to round out this thought just a second. You're like, yeah, I don't know why they picked the Luna. She just farms. And now Yopaj Ember! Take it away, Sheep.
Yopaj Ember! I mean, dude's a beast. Every single game lost tour, he was just getting picked Ember over and over again. Everyone was like, what the hell is happening? Can he play something new? But honestly, why would you? He was owning so hard.
And he's got Coddle on his team.
You gotta respect it.
Ooh,
This is the catch we wanted as well. Like, this is awesome.
Yeah, Ember into like very little stuns. It's really no stuns. Like Hoodwink, not the most reliable. So
I've seen like 800 ways that Boom can lose a team fight if they get ravaged like from fog, because between like the Luna ult, the Hoodwink ult, all this like magic damage and burst, they have a lot of damage, I think.
But that's like a big if. Like I feel like unless T1 have like vision of your entire team, like at the same time you shouldn't be fighting like under an enemy like before or something. So everyone getting ravaged just shouldn't happen.
Exactly. And so, but like outside of that scenario, I see wonderful skirmish opportunities for Boom. I think like Coddle, Sand King, Ember are gonna have an amazing time. This is like, I feel like Boom, like when they lost Execration, right? They had this weird draft. It was a little slow, a little weird, a little lacking in stuns. The next game they came out with this super fast tempo and rolled them. Like they were like, we are angry and we are going to run you down and kill you. And that's when you give Yopaj his heroes like Ember Spirit. You give him his like Invoker, whatever. You get Tim's on a Hoodwink, this type of stuff. This type of draft is where Boom shine, not this slow stuff.
The angry gaming, call it.
I'm hyped for some angry gaming right now.
The hungry beasts.
Yeah.
They're gonna come out. I mean, I just think right now, like, this is a huge outdraft too. Like, you're having it's like ignoring the fact it's like, you know, Yopaj Ember and how good he is here. You've just got like Coddle Ember and Ember playing into no stuns. Like this Luna, I think, is not set to have the greatest of games. There's plenty of heroes they can play into Tidehunter that can maybe cause problems too. So I just feel like Boom is a better draft regardless of like some of those like hero combo factors too.
Storm Spirit being T1's last pick here.
Gives them a playmaker. Like I think you've got this Luna who's going to be pretty greedy. Luna's going to look to like be greedy and then Deathball. It's like it's going to be similar gameplay to Medusa. Like the hero is not Medusa. It does like carries the games in different ways, but it's a similar concept where farm your stacks, come online with your BKB timing, and then just basically have this scary team fight with BKB Luna, Tide Ravage, secure Roche, and Boom can't fight into it. That's kind of the game plan for T1. And
how do you expect the mid matchup to play out then between the Storm and the Ember?
To be Storm favorite, but now Ember's magic got Flame got it. Sorry,
the tiny little buff. Yeah,
it got like buffed a little bit, and now it takes like 2 remnants or something early to kill, so it's not as actually they changed it completely in the last patch. I hate Ember. He's confusing. He's confusing, man.
Both should. I don't. I mean, it's this kind of matchup where they both have some kill potential.
Yeah.
I think
it's gonna be very much down to the skill of the.
Yeah, I would look more at which supports can rotate better. Which I don't think either team rotates amazingly well in their supports.
T1 definitely have more kill threat with Hoodwink than Boom do with their heroes.
This CK last pick means I'm going to bring in Mike and John to hear about their thoughts of this and maybe any choice words you have for anyone on the panel about last game as well, Mike.
you know, I say it all the time. I mean, these trash heroes get picked up. I try to tell you guys that they're no good. Sheepo, she keeps trying to go against me. I keep trying to educate. I don't know what to say. I mean, AM's a trash hero. We've talked about it. You know, and as we saw, even I had faith. I had faith in the anti-mage, and it was still losing. It's just not a good hero. This time around, though, I mean, at least we've got Yopaj Ember. I think we have a chance of getting to Game 3. You never bet against Yopaj Ember. We all know the rule. I think we're going to Game 3.
Number 1, Mike. What do you mean we? You're not part of Boom. I have the jersey here. I have the sticker. Number 2, T1. This is the combination we saw earlier, guys, in our Div 2 game. Storm, Pugna. If you thought Kotl refills or Aya was great, Pugna Life Drain for mana. It's in play. I don't know if it's great. It doesn't feel great. It lost. But T1 has it. I'm just going to be cheering for Pugna again. It's just fun. What can I do?
All right. Well, John's going for the Pugna buff, and Mike's not going to bet against the Yopaj Ember. For you two, where are you sitting?
Mike's my best friend, so I obviously agree with him completely.
Oh, now she's trying to be your best friend, Mike. Now.
I gotta go with my fellow Aussie then. So I'm going with Mike. I mean, I do think the CK could be in for not the easiest game picking the Tidehunter, but if CK gets off to a good start, I think Boom could really snowball. Like they can play their aggressive Boom kind of style.
Well, don't worry, John. I'll side with you. I'll say T1. I have the Pugna belief, but also the Circle Strat belief as we head in to game number 2.
There is no circle strat, ladies and gentlemen. johnxfire needs to be in a hospital somewhere. He needs to be looked at. This man has no idea what he's talking. Welcome back, johnxfire, by the way. How you doing? Game number 2 here against Boom and T1.
I'm so happy to see Storm and Pugna again. You know, little Pugna being a cheerleader going, maybe just giving mana away. We saw that happen in game 1 with the Dusa and the Husker a little bit with the Life Drain. I just like seeing it. Now, again, it worked in game 1 here, but the last time we saw Storm Pugna in that Div 2 game for TNC, it didn't work out too well, and that is the concern. You are kind of betting against Yopaj Ember. I like the CK coming out here for Boom. You know, the Pugna is an illusion counter, but not CK illusions. Those are strong illusions. They're undispellable, so the Ag Shard won't stop that. The aggression for Boom's going to line up. We've just got to see them get that aggression off here, Mike, and they're already going for a bit of a cheeky smoke here.
I think this will be a much more aggressive game than last game around. Like, even if they want to be a bit more methodical, I think you just have to be more aggressive from both ends. It should be very, very exciting as Boom already trying to move into that Radiant Triangle. T1 seem to kind of be aware that this might be happening. They do draw the lines out. Zephyr maybe thinking about going into the triangle. Cuckoo should see Tim's very soon.
30 seconds.
Now Will, and they definitely know. The triangle is currently occupied, so Boom, they'll leave the area. T1, more than happy to sit back, understanding they don't have the greatest level 1 timings right now, and much rather just kind of wait it out for the laning stage. The one thing I want to bring up, John, I mean, you had Carl tipping Yopaj at the end of that game 1. Do you think we're watching angry Yopaj now? Does the man get angry?
I think he does get irate, but, you know, the ideal is to just stay calm, level it out once you get into the game, and just kind of go to a clean slate. So I would like for Yopaj to be calmer, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't like to see the tips back. We'll see if Yopaj brings it out. This matchup on mid is a much more classic mid matchup. You know, it's not something cheesy like Husker TA, although Yopaj did manage to find some decent CS and null trades. Ember versus Storm is a clear sort of skill matchup. There is a slight advantage for Storm. Very easy to get the double overload and vortex charge onto the Ember by level 3. But there is some outplay potential for the Ember Spirit as well. So this one is going to be a true test for Yopaj and Carl. And this is going to be very even. I think it's one of the closer mid matchups we'll ever see. And I'm keen to see just how much Carl can do to stop Yopaj from getting that snowball start.
Now, Carl already seeming very happy as he puts the high 5 up. Yopaj not going to return the favor, though. No, we should have a look at the other lanes while we do have a chance. Of course, over at top lane, you're going to have the tide here by Cuckoo and Zephyr on the Hoodwink against Scam on the Bane and Jackie on a new hero, being the Chaos Knight. Not something we get to see very often from this man, but John, how do you feel about the CK this game?
I like it. We've seen a lot of success with that CK from the series we've watched today. It was mainly Apes picking it up, and we've seen the potential of it. From the pause 1, it is a rather awkward win condition. It always feels like you want something bigger to carry you through to the late game. CK scaling is just rather strange. It can be like a 50-50, but the lane is pretty good. It is still rough against Tidehunter. Anchor Smash still sucks.
Oh boy, Yopaj. Sorry about that, John. It was getting a little bit spicy again in this mid lane. You were saying?
Yeah, it's just, you know, it's awkward in lane, but once you get some levels up, you can look to be aggressive, and once you have level 3, it feels pretty good to trade hits, look to blow up Zephyr perhaps, so you do have a little bit more activity for Boom from the safe lane here.
Of course, that final lane, John. Bot lane, Whitemon and Gabby going to be against Tims, and of course FBZ, so they're very similar kind of matchup. One thing I think you and I were both surprised about with this draft from Boom was they did not give Tims a more aggressive roaming pos for. I think even God said on the panel that you kind of expected the Tims Mirana to come out with the Sand King. They don't go down that route, but rather go back to the Keeper of the Line.
Yeah, I think they just value the combination with Sand King, that Chakra plus Burrow Strike, Chakra plus Sandstorm uptime is really strong in lane. You'd have to watch yourself. The magic damage early on of T1 is high. When Nether Blast lands, you have setup from the Lucent Beam. It is a lot of output, and that can apply a lot of pressure, whereas for the side of Boom, Illuminate's still nice. You know, Burrow Strike, Sandstorm's really good, although that will take level 3 here for FBZ. It's just that the Nether Ward will always be a factor, and if Whitemon positions it well in the lane, a 10% spell reduction even at laning phase is pretty large. You're not going to be able to fully commit to really kill off some of these softer heroes here.
Certainly not, as we are going to have a quick pause. Looks like there was some pink spikes going on for Cuckoo, but oh god, I do love the "What Can You Do, Brother" voice line. Always a favorite. Been seeing it spammed a lot in the Twitch chat as of late as well. The "What Can You Do." It's FBZ and Tims just trying to fight. FBZ actually very low right now, is going to get chased down. They have the sentry for the detection. They're going to get first blood. And would you believe it, John? Gabby will claim first blood for a second game in a row.
Great news for T1. You know, Gabby on his Luna just wants to farm up a little bit, has a lot of ways of itemizing. This opens up that path rather quickly. And we're seeing the same thing come out from Whitemon. He has higher right click, he has higher range over Tims. Tims cannot trade the raw right click trade with a Pugna, and just makes him hard to find a good position to just sit back, illuminate, play with Chakra, look for pulls. And that just kind of takes away the bite of the Kotl in lane. You know, outside of that, again, you don't have the Burrow Strike combination yet with the Illuminate. You have a lot of sentries coming out from Whitemon. He's willing to sacrifice a lot of gold to enable this for Gabby, and you do worry about that Luna getting that quick build-up. The triangle hasn't been stacked, it's been too busy, but that will eventually be a concern as well.
Absolutely. You see Whitemon actually going into the Dire Triangle. In fact, never mind. He's just going to chase down Tims. This Pugna already so annoying to have to try and deal with here for Tims. The second game in a row. Fun little idea as well, John. You've been loving the Pugna dance while he life trains. What if every time Whitemon life trains, just Ignition turns on? You know, well, what if we could just turn the Ignition song on every single time? Just have a little dance to it.
I would love that if you could modify Dota 2. I would definitely change that sound file and just have that. And imagine if the broadcasting game, that would be lit. I would love to see that. Unfortunately, maybe someone let it on T1. Who knows? This is an awkward pause for bot lane.
Yeah, it certainly is. They've got some packet loss going on here for Carl, though, but we can have a look at what's happening bot lane. Currently, Whitemon's in the air, and it's a very uncomfortable situation here for Whitemon, as you can see, John. Not very nice whatsoever. I doubt they get the kill, though. He's already got the ward down, so he does have that that spell damage reduction. So 10% should be enough to allow him to get out of here. Unfortunately, it seems like T1 are all disconnecting here, so it's back to us, John. Welcome back. It gives us time to talk about what happened last night. John, do you want to explain why you were casting with another play-by-play?
Well, Mike, it's, you know, there was an opportunity. I was approached. I took the chance. I'm sorry I didn't consult with you beforehand, but things happen, Mike. I hope that you could forgive me and give me a second chance.
It's because he's younger and cuter, isn't he? He's younger and cuter than me. That's why. You're already moving on to the next big thing, aren't you? I'm too old for you now.
No, Mike. You know, age brings its own benefits. Wisdom, a great big beard. I think you have to worry about the point where, as you've talked about before, you might shave that beard. That might do it, Mike, but, you know, we'll not go there. We'll cross that bridge when it comes, Mike.
Well, the beard is going, John. I mean, we talked about this. The wife is not happy whatsoever with the beard, so I've got to get rid of it after DPC. That's the agreement, unfortunately. So for everyone that is a fan of the beard, unfortunately, it is going to disappear. But you've got another week or so before it's gone. Thank you for consulting me about consoling me rather about the issue that happened last night. It was very hard for me to watch you casting with Ares, and everyone in chat was like, "Oh, Ares and John, so good, such a great duo." There I was, in the back just watching. You know, nobody brought up my name, John, apart from, you know, MLP Kick W, which is happening a lot, actually, now that I think about it. I hope you had a great time, John.
I did have a good time. Not as great as this time, though. You know, much love to Aries, but you're still my #1, Mike. You're my first, all the way back in 2017. God help us. I hate remembering dates, but it's been so long. And here we are, like a couple that needs counseling, maybe. Do we need marriage therapy, Mike? Are we at that point?
We do. Well, I think we do, John. Like, you didn't tell me you were going to cast last night. I just ended up logging off and you did. It was kind of upsetting, honestly. I turned on the stream and there you were with your sunglasses on. Everyone was spamming bat chest. I was in the chat spamming bat chest as well. I'm sure the people are spamming bat chest right now as we speak because they heckin' love johnxfire. What about MLP Dota, John? Does anyone even remember who I am anymore?
They do mix us up, Mike. I can see a resemblance right here.
Oh, thank you,
we look
production,
very
by the way.
alike. No, that's wrong. It should be johnxfire and johnxfire. We look very alike. It's very easy to mix us up. We are very similar people, Mike. You know, the beard, you might be hallucinating it's on, but when you do reach that point in your vision, we look very alike. And we sound alike, don't we? I have the Australian accent too. Very strong Australian accent. Very nice.
Oh, absolutely. By the way, for the viewers that are, you know, probably watching, you know, obviously they are 5 minutes behind right now. I'm almost guaranteeing someone's asking why the screen's on us. As you can see at the bottom right of your screen, the game is currently paused, but we are trying our absolute best to get through these technical difficulties and hopefully have the game underway. You hear that, John? That was thank you, John, for pointing at that. That was actually the lines I used to use back when I used to work in a call center. I'm very good at telling people there's technical difficulties and we have to just wait a little bit. So there you go.
Lovely, Mike. Lovely. Hopefully you don't need to do that speech once more as we do get an unpause. So it looks like T1 has fixed their issues. As you mentioned, not quite enough to kill Whitemon. That Nether Ward really just takes way too much of the edge off from the combinations of Boom and that lane. And he does get to live another day. Quite a substantial pause, but not too much being missed out. T1 still in a really good position in the laning phase, 4 minutes in. You are also seeing that mid win out slightly for Carl. He has a lot of denies. He's slowing Yopaj down. Should be able to hit level 6 slightly faster and starts to feel a lot better there.
Mid lane, Carl dropping very low now against the Ember. There'll be a bit of a rotation from Tims, and this is the reason why I don't really like Tims on a heap. Oh, hold on a minute. The Coddle might be able to land it, but no. Oh, it's close. Carl will give the tip over. He didn't even flinch, John. Carl just kept walking.
Yeah. Just as Duno would say, lakad matatag. Walking straight, Lon and Duno, of course. And he does just get away. Now that is still a lot of room for Yopaj to catch up. He's gonna hit level 6 faster now despite the denies. And that's the point where the Ember might be able to do something with that level advantage. It's a big opportunity to jump the storm, commit all remnants, find a kill. And we'll see if Yopaj is gonna be willing to do that. And he will just secure runes for now.
Bit of a fight over the 600 power runes, I'm sure, as both supports on both sides start to make their way over for those power runes. You're going to have Whitemon show up, of course, for the bot side. The Yopaj already realizing he's not going to have a power rune for himself. Is still going to try to steal it away, but it's going to be up top, and Zephyr's got it. T1, they are doing a really darn great job of just not giving anything the way of Boom Esports. Yopaj, even on the Ember, is going to be stuck with an empty bottle now.
It's not a great feeling for Yopaj. Not going to be able to, you know, sustain the lane as much. He does have his combination with Coddle, but his HP is dropping from the output of Carl, making great use of the stat remnant and fast charge.
Tex was there. Yopaj just going to be able to remnant back, and he'll go for a reset at the T, or rather the fountain. Carl, again with those mind games, just constantly spamming the voice lines, getting the tips out there, and very confident going into this matchup here against Boom Esports. It's kind of something we talked about as well, right? Like, if you're T1, you used to be the bride, per se, of SEA, but ever since Boom won that Gamers Galaxy tournament, you know, people have been speaking about Boom more, and I think as T1, you need to prove a point right here and now in this best of 3 that you are the better team.
Yeah, and they certainly are shaping up that way. Very disciplined plays. They are rotating top.
Now that they are, Jackie very far forward with no support around him, is probably set to fall and will do. It's Carl with a very nice rotation of the Storm, able to pick it up. In the meantime, Boom Esports trying to pressure the mid-tier 1 tower, but this is without a siege creep, and it's just Ember Coddle, so you're not really going to get the damage out.
do have to worry about that slowdown for Jackie. Every single kill counts. When he starts to drop behind Luna, that network gap with Gabby just grows wider. Gabby's going for the Mask of Madness. CK doesn't farm as well. He can use Phantasm to farm, not the ideal, and still not as quick as Luna. So you have to watch yourself when you do leave that CK alone. Very vulnerable at this stage of the game. And as you mentioned, Mike, they don't really find that mid-tier. We're not even doing a lot of damage onto it as well. Just stabilizing Yopaj's lane. They know what they have to do to enable that Ember. Carl still holding his own solo quite well. Triple null up, feels good to zip around here.
Yopaj, Bushwhack is going to connect. Won't be enough to really lock him down though. Yopaj's going to move it with the chains out onto Zephyr, looking for a kill. Might just be able to get it. The Remnant's forward, but Zephyr, oh, he's not going to drop. They thought he abused the fog, but he'll deny himself to Roshan. And again, T1 are just giving no opportunities away for Boom. Nothing.
They deny off the Arcane Rune with Whitemon as well in the bot lane, bot rune spot, and they're just holding this game really well. Again, very calculated moves from T1, measuring their movement out, ensuring that they're always backing up Carl, slowing down Yopaj, preventing that Ember from snowballing. Like right now, Yopaj is bottom network core. No power, no phase boots yet, no orb corrosion. He's trying to rush the phase boots, going into the BKB, but he doesn't have that massive damage spike because he's been stalled out so badly, and that is really concerning. Like, this should be a good Ember game. The hold of T1 isn't amazing, but Yopaj isn't able to really build up too much here.
Oh, and he's been caught out again. He's barely gonna survive on 15 HP. Oh, it's just so close though. They are really trying to make this Ember's life a living hell, and that they are doing very well. Yopaj again, just not even with the phase boots yet. Still bottom side. They are going to find Whitemon here on the Pugna, and maybe this time they'll have it, but no. Illuminate misses Whitemon. He's going to go to Crep TP, and he's going to make it. It's just so demoralizing for Boom.
And they're just not finding any of these skirmish wins. And while T1 gets that done, you know, you're leaving a free lane for Gabby. He is just really outfarming everyone, almost a 1k lead at this point on the Luna. Mask of Madness up, farm just accelerates. They haven't done anything to stop that Luna. And this is one of these scary situations. Yeah, Luna's not that popular in Southeast Asia, but this is Gabby's Luna, one of his special heroes, and he's being allowed to just ramp up at a really quick pace here.
Chains out. Top side, Yopaj going to try again onto Zephyr. The Hoodwink's still proving very challenging to catch, and he won't be able to get the job done. It's T1, again, a very conservative game thus far here from T1, but they're doing a great job of just slowing down the pace. It's not something you're used to seeing with Boom either. You're used to seeing Boom just going aggressive as hell, but they're playing such a slow game here against T1, and I'm not sure whether that's a choice or not from Boom, quite frankly, John. It feels like they're kind of being forced into this slow matchup.
Yeah. Maybe there's a little bit coming in there with the supports. Like, you do have Kotl and Bane, but none of them really play make in a big way. Perhaps the Bane can really help. Once he has level 6, still a long ways off from that for Scam. So their support duo is just not the fastest in setting up plays. They will smoke up now with Yopaj, giving him a bit of chakra, maybe looking for that rotation bot. But Gabby's already left that lane. If they will try, it's only onto Whitemon. That ward is still stuck at level 1, so Yopaj can still overwhelm that. And he does have his Orb Corrosion up for some more damage here.
They're going to smoke up. Carl and Zephyr move in, trying to get something for their trouble. It's like they might run right into Jackie, and that's the biggest target you can ask for right now on the side of Boom Esports. They'll wrap around the long way, but they are running in the right direction. Skem is going to be around to try and help out, but it might be a 3v2 scenario. They will see Jackie now. They've got the sharpshooter available on Zephyr, so the burst damage is going to be there as Whitemon. He's already laughing about this. Sharpshooter's going to be out. They even popped the Ravage just in case they needed it. And it's well worth it. The Scam, he'll get jumped to boot, but he cannot hold anyone down right now. He doesn't have level 6 yet. And Cuckoo, he might just be too tanky. He'll just walk right out. No problems for T1.
Yeah, just a nice quick little snipe. Yopaj still chasing though.
Lands the chains, but doesn't feel confident. He'll move in again. Zephyr still dropping, but has the raindrops up. He'll go for the bushwhack now. The Illuminate, it's not going to connect. Remnants forward with the chains out will get it done. But they are having to try everything just to find these simple support kills.
So much effort just to find these small, squishy targets, and they're not even a big kills. Again, we've seen Jackie die. In comparison, Gabby has just not been under any pressure at all. Jackie's still doing a decent job of keeping up, and so is FBZ, to be fair. It just doesn't measure up to this Luna. Yasha already up on top of the Mask of Madness. Manta could come out soon. The Luna's almost ready to go. Perhaps the BKB afterwards to really seal the deal. And FBZ?
Yeah, getting caught out again. That's one thing we haven't talked about at all, John. FBZ hasn't moved from that bot lane, and he's had the blink up for a while now. I say a while, but it may not have been that long, but it still surprises me as now chains are going to come out. Yopaj catching up both supports, but the blinding light is going to knock both of them away. He will still take Whitemon's life. But going back to my point, John, it does feel like FBZ needs to get a little bit more involved here for Boom Esports.
They need to play off the back of that Burrow Strike epicenter. In comparison, you know, we've already seen the Ravage come out from Cuckoo. Yopaj still diving. It is only Zephyr.
It's the only kills they can really secure right now, John. Yopaj, he needs every kill he can get, so that'll be the 4th of the game for him. Even with that terrible start, he is slowly clawing his way back into this game too.
He's finding that momentum for the team. Still the bottom 2 network core. Still above Carl, so the Storm Spirit's been having a bit of a rougher time. And we are seeing both Spirit Brothers rush to BKB, so that's the point where both sides will be comfy zipping in. Although Boom will have a little bit of an edge, having that Fiend's Grip up on Scam, so BKB on the Storm's not going to do as much, but it will force that choice out. They're still kind of trying to shove in bot, but they don't commit the resources, as they still are eyeing mid. They're just constantly going back to the mid and controlling their, trying to get farm, control runes. Looks like they do have a better time here for T1, but it's denied off by Tin. So no arcane rune for Carl to play with. And that just kind of keeps the game steady. As this game just stays steady like this, I mean, T1's just super happy. Gabby's just farming triangle, no contest, no one's checking, no one's blocking these camps, and the Luna's just building this massive lead. It's just growing as the minutes fly by.
And there's no way you can expect Jackie to be able to keep up with the Luna, right? Like, it's a CK versus Luna matchup, so no matter how fast you try and farm on this Chaos Knight, it probably doesn't mean much when you've got a Luna with glaives that can just keep bouncing around. As Carl, mid lane, still so confident on this mid storm, just constantly taunting Yopaj, trying to get into the mind of the idol. So even Zephyr looking to set up now. Might just move in. They'll have a Vortex into a Sharpshooter and a Bushwhack, and they'll take him down. Carl immediately getting the tips out. No hesitation.
Oh man, they scanned out that smoke. They make the move onto mid, and now they smoke themselves here on T1, disrupting Boom's movement. Might find something good.
They're just playing them like a fiddle. I mean, T1 is playing Boom Esports like a fiddle right now, John. It's not even close.
Yeah, they've gotten a good read, and Boom, they're in a very precarious spot. Not a big net worth lead for T1, but again, all these factors are adding up. Yopaj isn't snowballing. Jackie's playing here. That's very tempo based on the CK. He will have his BKB up soon, but we haven't seen that activity from FBZ. Like, he's on the Sand King. He loves this hero. He just hasn't seen the opportunity to use that point yet, although perhaps top will be the place they do it.
Center, FBZ gonna move in, but who's the target? They'll try on the Luna. Life Drain is out though. There's your Ravage from Cuckoo, and now the turnaround. Yopaj is gone again. More tips out from Carlos. They've got the Sharpshooter. They'll take down FBZ to boot. It's a desperate play from a desperate team in game number 2. And T1, John, they are just not flinching.
They've got such good counter fight. They get the positioning right. And that was a big target to go for, but White1 was there to protect. Again, you see that little life drain heal, keeping Gabby alive long enough to just use his spells, get some right clicks off of the Mask of Madness, and use the Eclipse, and just stay alive. Boom does not have the burst to deal with that. Their angles are just tough. You already have the Hood of Defiance on Cuckoo, so he's a very bad target to go for. And you're still trying to force this sort of magical burst into Netherward. It's just pretty much a free fight. The aura reduction is just really, really high, and you don't have anything to counteract it. So T1's just winning out in all these engagements. I think seeing Ravage commit though should give Boom an opening. Like, yeah, they don't have Epicenter, but you still have this highly mobile Ember who could still do a lot of right-click physical damage. They just need to find a way to leverage that somehow.
Boom, they're going to keep trying to get aggressive, but they honestly look a bit lost here, John. Into the mid lane they go. Maybe without the Ravage, they think they can fight T1. They're going to try it, but they don't want to go into Cuckoo. Skem's looking for a nice Fiend's Grip target right now, but again, it's not the Tidehunter they want. They want a Storm or a Luna or even a support here from T1.
Wait.
Even just the T1 tower at this rate would be nice. but Cuckoo's just standing right in front.
You know what's feeling really wrong here? Nether Ward is taking off the damage from Sleight of Fist because it's a spell, even though it's physical damage. Yopaj is tickling people with Sleight of Fist, but Cuckoo doesn't take damage at all when he casts that spell. Look at that, nothing.
Well, to be fair, John, it is spell damage reduction in quotations. You know, it's not magic reduction, it's spell damage reduction, whatever that means. So, I guess it makes sense.
That's taking out their bite. Like, you've got the phase boots or corrosion. This is when the Ember feels strong, but it doesn't feel that way.
Maybe now with the double damage. Maybe that fixes the problem. Gabby, into FBZ. He's going to try and make a solo pick off right here and now with the Sand King. Gabby, highest net worth of the map, does not want to die like this, but he's completely alone. In the meantime, at least they find Scam. That's a massive pickup here for Boom Esports.
Yeah, really big. Here they needed to, and they stall out for Jackie to finally hit this BKB timing. So he's got his BKB up. He's kind of ready to join in these fights and help the team out. He's this big tanky core. He's not going to care for a lot of the throughput that T1 has on hand. And this is the moment where T1's lineup, Boom's lineup starts to come online. We've got to see them be able to find that kind of isolation play. We've got to see them find the jumps. It's still a massive concern. I feel like T1's positioning has just been so good this match. Like, Whitemon has been really good with where he drops the ward, where he is in the fight, how close he is to his cores to get the life drain off. Like, you do want to jump something like the Storm, you want to jump something like Luna, but as long as there's a Pugna to protect with the Nether Ward, it doesn't feel like you do enough damage. Like, this is such an oppressive spell for the Sleight of Fist combination, for the Epicenter, the Burst Wreck, the Sandstorm. The only real hero that doesn't care for that is Jackie, but he's going to have to rely on some of those lucky Chaos Strike crits, and you know, it's not always that you're blessed with back-to-back crits to find that burst here.
I didn't realize Netherward was this busted, right? Like, spell damage reduction meaning any spell that does damage, basically. It seems to be what it means, and that is kind of ridiculous. Okay, maybe Pugna's the hero we start spamming in pubs, John. I think you were right. You were onto something earlier on with that Pulse 5 Pugna. The White One, he's been doing a great job. He has 2 deaths, but who the hell cares? Every team fight is just kind of controlled by this Nether Ward and the live train. Jackie is going to run right into Whitemon, but can he get the kill? It's kind of hard with Decrepify available, and in fact, Whitemon's just juked him out. Twinkle Toes Pugna, he's fine.
Yeah. You know, he's a very speedy hero, 395 move speed. The Tranquil's active up, hard to chase down. They will find something big mid, though.
If they can kill him. And the answer is they can't. He's fine.
Yeah. Tide just too tanky, even without the Nether Ward to protect. You know, he still has Craction, just constantly dispelling off the control. 9-5, less than 1k lead on here for T1. Surprisingly, Jackie is keeping up farm really well on the CK. He's using the Phantasm quite nicely across the camps. I think they are managing to keep that build up steady. The question is, how does it scale into Luna? You still have the Glaives to worry about. Your Illusions, yeah, they don't care for, let's say, Pugna Shard. They still care about the Luna bouncing around, and you're not going to be tanky in any short time, in a short time span to really just have these big beefy illusions that stand and fight. They might still melt to that Luna.
Yopaj, Remnant away in time. Cuckoo, they're at least going to find the keeper. So Tims will drop. Cuckoo still wants to keep going. He has Blink Ravage. There's your Nightmare out from Skem, but I think this might work the way of T1. How do you force this fight? Boom, they're still going to try. Along with FBC, they'll go right after Whitemon. He might just drop and finally does. Cuckoo, he never got the Ravage off in time. So now they'll try for the Tide Hunter. They'll try to take down the Watermelon. In the meantime, Carl is going to pop the BKB and just kind of walk away. They'll continue on to Cuckoo with the Epicenter. They might just have enough. So suddenly Boom Esports showing signs of life in this game number 2.
And that's a really big win for Boom. They managed to turn things around, prevent T1 from having that counterfight, locking away the Tide, preventing that big Ravage turnaround, and just slowly poking and prodding with the range Yopaj has. He's using the Sleight of Fist really well, just constantly drop them low. And Jackie comes in to clean up. He didn't even pop his BKB on the CK. Still a fresh 9-second charge. So really great use of the resources here for Boom. side of Boom now. They do have control of Roche, but they don't clear it out the fastest, so they can't quite go for that objective. And in that downtime, anyway, T1 was still farming on Gabby. His own BKB is almost done. The Luna showing up with Spell Immunity, casting off the Eclipse. It's going to be a bit scary for Boom to try to handle that. Like, again, you could try to focus with the CK. Whether or not the CK can tank through everything being thrown here from T1 is a different question.
Still, T1 gonna be careful now as Boom Esports. They'll go for a 4-man smoke up. Ravage is still available, so T1, they might be happy to fight, but they are kind of split up as Whitemon immediately caught out, is gonna drop. And I feel like that's just one very important aspect before you go for a real big team fight, is get rid of the Pugna. And that's exactly what Boom Esports continue to do, is they'll focus down the bottom tier 2 tower now.
Huge opening DD as well. Cuckoo, as you mentioned, still has Ravage. There's a really good defensive fight here if they want to find it, but Yopaj with a DD could be a bit of an issue coming into this one.
Another double damage rune. You couldn't have asked for much more here as the Ember. BKB available, they want to try and move in, and Cuckoo's going to be targeted. Zephyr's around to try and help out Cuckoo. He has the Ravage. He's been very patient with it, as Yopaj will keep going with the BKB. Cuckoo, he's dropping low. He might need to pop it, but he'll hold out instead. He'll hold out. It'll be a 1-for-1 so far, but Boom now looking to back off as Carl moves in with Gabby, and the Eclipse is out. Jackie's going to drop on the CK. Even without the Ravage up, it won't matter. T1, they still find the better end of the trade. Boom Esports, they are forced to back off too early.
Look at Whitemon and Carl, they're doing it. A little top up. Carl's just all set. And for Boom, I think the big thing there was that they had to pop BKBs as they jumped in. There were no big spells to dodge. They just wanted to get a clean kill. That meant Jackie, once the BKB was gone, it was a clear shot for Luna to just pop that Eclipse. Get the damage off, not much bouncing around. The illusions weren't, again, durable enough to really eat through a lot of that. And T1's just finding the better end of these trades. Now, Yopaj does live true, and the Ember has a lot of scaling left in it. You know, we are seeing the Kaya Sanj build up here for Yopaj, looking for the stat resist. He wants to be a very active Ember in this match instead of like a big greedy core, which is fair. But I think you start thinking about your late game scaling. You know, after that Kaya Sanj, you're going to want the Ags. You might want to refresh this game. You might want something like a Shivas. But you need a lot more items on the Ember to really keep that scaling pace up.
Whoops, FBZ gonna run into a 4-man smoke here from T1. Cuckoo, even looking for a bit more, will chase down Scam. Scam just trying to find a way out of this. Carl, he's quite low on mana, but they're going to see the Bane eventually. And they should be able to set up. Eventually, that is, as Scam is continuing to run around. Cuckoo, he'll move in for an anchor smash. Scam goes for a brain tap, but finally does end up going down. Rest of Boom, they just did not seem interested in trying to help out.
I think that's fair. Cut your losses, just accept the fact you've lost your off lane, and just kind of find farm where you can while the rest of the T1's still busy hunting. So they're getting some build up on Jackie, they're getting that build up on FBZ. Gabby has still managed to widen that gap on the Luna. Again, it's just a Luna. It outfarms the CK at every corner, even with the Phantasm usage here. For Jackie, not quite enough to keep that same pace. And T1 managed to even out map control, find a mid-tier 1. So they can invade the jungle a lot better. They have really good aggressive wards to watch the jungle entrances. And this is just going to make it harder for Boom to work the map. We've still got that BKB on FPZ. 8-second charge still standing there. Yopaj still saving up for that Sanj. Going to be a lot easier for him to hold the front line. And not going to be held back for as much. It's still a really even game. I just worry about the timings, because it feels like towards late game, T1's lineup feels a lot stronger than Boom's. For Boom, they still have some scaling on hand, but to meet those conditions is just really difficult. It requires perfect play. And now you have to deal with even the Ag Scepter up in Zephyr. He's got the Boomerang, he's got the stat resist drop, spell damage amp. It just kind of nullifies that sort of hold your ground kind of style Yopaj wants with Assange as well.
I do love myself a hoodwink Boomerang with the Aghanim Scepter. Always very, very nice to watch. And Boom still huddled up in that dire jungle, just trying to make sure they don't get caught with their pants down. And T1, you look at how much more comfortable they feel across the map right now as Scam gonna get jumped immediately by Carl. Scam still in trouble. He'll go for a Fiend's Grip, but it is not gonna last. Sharpshooter just takes him down as Yopaj. He'll at least take down Whitemon. It'll be a 1-for-1 on the pos 5s. But he can't go for much more. His BKB will wear out. And T1, they'll accept the trade. That'll be enough for them.
Yeah, I think you're pretty happy with that. You saw some BKB uses out from Boom. Yopaj down to 7-second charge. And that gives a bit of an opening if they do want to counterplay. You only lost your Pugna. It's still a big factor not having Little Ward, but it does feel like everyone's tanky enough that it's not completely necessary in some of these engagements. So they are still checking the Roche. Teams does prevent that take, but they are still positioning by the river. And Boom is kind of forced to just stand their ground here, ensure that no Roche is being snuck up on. T1, I mean, look at their vision game. They're just completely aware of where Boom's standing. Really good lines of wards across the river. Just makes it tough for Boom to really delve out and try to find something.
Pings out on Gabby though. They did spot the Luna with that Observer ward. Esports, they are rapping, but they don't seem so confident with their ability to take down Gabby. He does have that BKB up after all, so he's quite a hard target to deal with. So they're almost trying to bait here with Tims, but it seems like T1 have read the movement. They bring 4 heroes themselves. The only one really missing, in fact, never mind, Cuckoo is here. He'll just stick by his team as well. It's around that time where both teams sit on their high ground, just waiting for one to go into the Roshan pit. And of course, Roshan, like last game, going to be very important this time around. I do think Boom can't really afford to allow T1 to take it.
Oh boy.
Because matters are just getting worse. I have Scardy on Gabby, Aghanim Scepter on Carl. It just gets so much scarier if you're Boom Esports now.
Yeah, AoE Vortex gonna ruin Boom if they clump up too hard with a Ravage follow-up. There's a lot of AoE control from T1. And that Boom is still relying on only FBZ to really deliver that. Like, it's all down to the Sand King with this initiation.
Oh, there's your Vortex out into the Ravage Cuckoo. He's right in on 4 of them. They've already got Skematims down. They'll both fight back as Whitemon, he's going to be targeted on the Pugna FBZ. He'll keep going, and Jackie, he'll make the jump in. Cuckoo's gone. It's a complete mess in the mid lane as they've got Gabby on the Luna. They might be able to take him down. Gabby, he's dropping real darn low, but where's your damage output? It's not going to be there, but the Burrow Strike out from FBZ is just not enough. The Idol, he'll try himself as he gets Gabby down onto the Storm.
What?
They might clean up here on Boom Esports. Yopaj will do it himself. Does he have the chains out? He does not. It was on cooldown, but somehow Boom Esports end up winning that team fight. I just don't know how, John.
That was a complete mess. Just a lot of back and forth. Great BKB use from Jackie this time to eat through the Eclipse. They have the damage to deal with. With Cuckoo, just run up, burst him down. There's still a lot of output here on the CK with that Silver Edge up. And it was a good jump in from Carl. He took care of the supports, but that left a window for Boom to counter-initiate, especially for Yopaj. When you don't catch the Ember, you have to worry about his output, his mobility. Because outside of those teamfight spells, you only really have the Bushwhack from Zephyr to really hold Yopaj down. So if you commit that hard and you don't catch Yopaj, he just has this huge window where he can rip through the back line. He's got the Axe up.
He's got the Axe up now. Things get very, very scary. 41 as it looks like the chase is on for Zephyr. Blinding Light will scout him out. Zephyr not going to get hit by the chains, but still in big, big trouble as Yopaj. Maybe have to back off now. Nightmare's going to be there though from Skemmer. Now the Fiend's Grip. They really want this hoodwink for Whitemon. He'll just heal him up through it, but he's going to end up getting taken down by Yopaj. Tims with the Illuminate flying right through Whitemon. And so Boom still find both supports, and it seems like they want Roshan.
They're going to be able to take Roshan. Good scan out from T1 though. They're going to be aware of that. Ravage 25 seconds away. There's enough time to kind of come in here, stall Roche, have Ravage back up for this fight. And of course, AoE Vortex is really deadly in such a tight spot.
Well, they need 15 seconds here, John, for that Ravage. Vortex will come out from Carl. It just won't catch anything. Meanwhile, the Idol, he's going to jump into the backside. He wants Whitemon down on that Pugna. He might just have him, but not quite yet. Whitemon, he'll survive. Meanwhile, FBZ jumps in with the epicenter, but the BKBs were there. He gets no damage off, and Boom Esports, they're the ones who need to retreat. As Cuckoo has brought back and now has Ravage available. And believe it or not, John, there is no buybacks left on the map right now. But Boom Esports, they still can't let this Roshan go down for free. Yopaj, he's got one remnant to play with. Just one. Skem's going to try and give the vision. Roshan so low, Yopaj still waiting. Remnant is out, but it's way too early. He might try again. He's got one more now available off cooldown, but the Vortex is there from Carl. Ravage out as well. Roshan still up though. He got stunned outside of the pit. Aegis, Gabby, he'll be the one to take it. He'll snatch it away from Boom as Yopaj does get the Roshan kill, but he could not get the Aegis.
That is tight. Really good on the edge play for Boom. They force out the Ravage from Cuckoo just to secure Roche. There's a window here for Boom with FBZ respawning where Ravage is down. The combination with Vortex isn't there, and they can still handle 2 lives on Gabby. I don't think the secondary life in Luna is that scary yet. And Gabby's still a really hard hitter, but if he does pop Eclipse in the first life, second life doesn't feel as scary. So Boom still has ways to work against that. And they put themselves in a pretty interesting position. They're 3k up, behind in kills, but they have managed to work the map well. Their CK is hitting really hard. Jackie's just going straight for a heart. Once you've got that heart up, it feels like if you don't manage to get the Eclipse isolation on Jackie with a BKB down, he will take control in the middle of these fights. Your output on the Luna isn't quite high enough to burst through that CK with so much EHP.
Absolutely not. Boom, 3k net worth advantage. Still, it just could go either way. It's still such a close game between these two teams. And Gabby's trying to work on towards the butterfly now. And that Luna is winning that evasion against the CK, but there's going to be a big smoke up here from Boom Esports. Up towards the top lane they go. Through the triangle is where the lines have been drawn out, but it seems like T1 are aware there are too many heroes missing right now. They hang around the north here, Gabby and Zephyr. Zephyr ready to break the smoke, but this could be terrible if Gabby gets spotted. Jackie, he might team in time, but no. He won't see the Luna. So Boom Esports, they will get nothing. It's a very quick TP out from T1 and great reading of the map.
It's rather interesting. T1's the one with the Aegis. They're the ones taking a much more defensive line. They're not looking to play aggressively with that Aegis. They're looking to farm up. They're looking to build up on Gabby more so than anything else. He does have that butterfly, as you mentioned, so some evasion is at play here. Hits a lot harder now. No big crits, but in a very prolonged fight, the hits do line up, and that evasion will kind of cause issues for Jack Boys. So, good solution for Luna. We've got to see if Boom can still keep going. Boom is still looking to be aggressive. Again, they have the Aegis disadvantage, but T1's the one dodging. They know that Boom's very hungry. Ravage is back up for T1, so they could be more willing to take some fights. But I feel maybe they just realize there's no pressure here. They don't need to force fights. They have good scaling with Luna. They're confident in Gabby's Luna up against Jackie's CK. And they just don't need to take the risk. Just use the security to keep building up, or trying to build that lead back up. At least maintain the lead on Gabby and widen it. And just go all in on Gabby's win condition.
Such a great game too so far, John. 21 to 18, 2k net worth, like you mentioned, Gabby. Got another butterfly queued up here, John. Is he going for the classic Dota All-Stars build? Are we going double butterfly? Is that what we're doing? I can only dream.
He could.
Never mind that.
The Satanic feels a lot more important. Shove in from Boom top. Slowly sieging away at that tier 2. No response out from T1, but they are smoked up here.
Yeah, but FBZ's on the high ground. He's ready to break any smoke, and Cuckoo is going to be spotted out. FBZ, do you want to keep going? In fact, they do. They spotted both supports, so Yopan's trying to move in, but Carl is going to be there on the Ember, trying to burst him down. It's not quite enough yet. In the meantime, Cuckoo's down. His Ravage will not be expended, as they'll even get Zephyr and Jackie. He finds Whitemon on the Pugna. It's a great team fight for Boomers. They're even going to find Gabby now. He'll try to BKB up and run, but they'll chase him to the ends of the earth. They want the Luna kill. The highest net worth on the map is going to go down. Now he's completely surrounded without a BKB. There is zero chance of survival. And Carl, he's already pushing out the mid lane in preparation for the push that is incoming. This Ken will give the tip over to Gabby. I think, John, everyone's wondering, where's the tips from Yopaj?
Man, that's what I'm saying. Yopaj, cool, calm, collected. He ain't tipping until it's won, and still a tight match. No buybacks for T1 makes this an impossible defense, although Gabby does have his buyback now, but Luna without tie just kind of feels wonky. We'll be able to find a first set of racks. Carl making great use of that space, although no mana.
Carl's out of mana, John, and Yopaj has noticed this. He has no mana to play with right now. He'll try for the high ground. He might have enough time with the TP, and he does. Nice play from Carl. to be able to get his way out. But in the meantime, Boom Esports are still going for a second lane of barracks here. And Yopaj, he's going to find a double damage on his way back to make matters even more difficult for T1. They're going to try and defend now. Carl, he'll move in with the BKB out, trying to take down Jackie, but he's got a heart of Taraska. Gabby, he's going to pop the Eclipse, but the BKB keeping Jackie safe at least for now, as they'll try to heal him up. Nightmare is there. Jackie still dropping low, still trying to fight this one out, as here comes Japoy. They've got the CK down, but now Gabby's been caught up with the Ravages there. Cuckoo, he may have turned it around. If they've got Yopaj down, FBZ still trying. Whitemon, he'll just keep life trading up. Suck him dry, Whitemon. Skem, he is somehow not able to get the punt, but now does. But now Carl jumps in with a 3-man vortex, but won't follow up. So they've lost Gabby. In fact, FBZ's the one to jump back in with the Ethereal Blade out. They will take him down with Zephyr. It's a 2v2 scenario, and I think both sides just want to go back home. They've had enough.
Oh man, how tight are these team fights coming up from both sides? They managed to get the dieback on Gabby, but they lose Yopaj. They don't want to commit their own buyback. Now Boom are in a very comfy position where next Roshan is within 2 minutes. They've got the lane advantage with top constantly shoving in. They can start to think about that objective. They do have to respect when they do come in with a Ravage. They have to time their BKB use. I think they managed to gap that use of Eclipse and Ravage really well to bait the first use of BKB. Look for that window for Cuckoo to Ravage and just find that opening for the follow-up control, even though you don't get the magic damage off. You are seeing issues in handling Jackie though, right? Like, you have to lock in that CK really quick. The damage of Luna can kind of deal with it, but if the CK is on top of you, those crits just fly through. Like, that Chaos Strike scales really well with the strength gain of her CK, with the heart already up. It is a bit RNG in terms of the critical max and minimum, but you get lucky a couple of times on your Phantasms as well. You just rip right through. So T1's got to be the ones either being the aggressors or baking out a very prolonged fight that they find a way to come in when BKBs are down. And that's the ideal for T1. For Boom, their aggression's kicking in. This is the Boom we expected way earlier on, but they are playing it like it's their map to hold, and they're just not relenting in the aggression.
There's that tier 2 mid tower. Jackie hitting like an absolute truck now on the CK. Very, very intimidating for T1. This Luna just not transitioning as you would have hoped. Especially once the Eclipse is down. Just feels like you can't stand there and right click right now against Boom Esports. Now, T1 not out of this game yet, but 11k net worth behind. The one team fight could switch that back their way, but they've got to be so cautious. One more lost team fight could just mean GG here for T1. And we would be lucky enough to get to a game number 3 between these two teams. As Boom are already hunting. Trying to find their next victim.
Never refuse gold given.
They spun out Cuckoo mid lane, but they aren't going to make it in time to go after the Tide. Still, they are making their way over. Boom, they might keep trying. Cuckoo's going to back off at the right moment, though, and T1, they will do the exact same. Just keeping away from the top side of the map, and I think that's fair enough. They certainly aren't ready to fight, not without that Satanic available on Gabby.
They will have to settle for the Roshan here, though. They've got to put their bodies in. Again, lots of wide AoE control from T1. They need to find that angle, prevent that second Rosh. Free shard, maybe not as big of a deal now at 40 minutes in, but the secondary life is something they can't afford to lose here on T1's side.
They're going to try, but again, John, it's a very tough ask. Carl, he's going to move in, but he's already popped his BKB. Oh boy, that could be problematic for T1 now. No BKB available. Skem, he's already having a look around for this storm, but he's only going to get the Nightmare on Zephyr. Still, Yopaj will take it, but no chains fly out. If they can take the Roshan while the BKB's down on Carl, they might have a pretty big opening. Gabby, very far forward, and avoid the sleight of fist chains from Yopaj. So tense this team fight already as Yopaj going to try and go on Zephyr, but they get the bushwhack off. Vortex is there, they'll try to blow him up, but no, the Fiend Grip is out. Carl, he's been caught out by Skem. They do not find the Bane either. Now Cuckoo's gone a boot, no Ravage available on the Tide, and Gabby, he's been left to his own devices. He needs to try and fight this one out, but he is all alone, just being helped out by Whitemon. He needs to leave the area. And that'll mean Boom should be able to get away with this Roshan, but Cuckoo brought back. They might have to force the fight because of this.
And they've still got Ravage on Cuckoo. No follow through from the Storm. They have a little bit of time to go into that pit. Cuckoo is in the area, but if it fails, this could be a very disadvantageous situation for T1. So I think the safe bet, just hand over that Aegis. Jackie's going to have 2 lives, and he's going to have to deal with it somehow. Free Shard coming out as well. So you've got the Chaos Bolt with the Phantasm Illusion coming out, and even more damage coming out here for Boom. And this should open up the rest of the racks. Remember, they already took top racks here, Mike. Mid and bot left. And it doesn't take too long for Jackie if he can commit onto it to really clear it out.
Absolutely not. Very, very tense here for game 2, but they might have the opening now. Boom Esports. Who do they find? Jackie. He'll be caught. Nice nightmare, though. Scam just completely juking out the sharpshooter. Poor old Yopash had to take it himself, but he won't mind on the Ember. Jackie's going to move in. Even the Axe now up on Tim, so the Will-O-Wisp is available for the side of Boom, and that can make it even more challenging for T1, who is still yet to have Carl back up and ready to be able to fight this fight. Boom, they'll get the bottom racks, and it's on to perhaps the tier 3 mid tower. They are going to back off perhaps, but there is a double damage available if they wanted to go for that instead. Another DD rune, and it seems like Yopash is on the way to pick it up.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big one. Yopash has been doing a lot of work on that Ember, just really ripping everything to shreds. Has its level 25 as well, you know, so lower remnant time. It's been having that for a while. I think the level 25 I'm keen on seeing though is FBZ, and he does have it up. He does go for the epicenter pulses, so he just wants burst damage. In a sustained fight, the Sandstorm Blind would be a massive issue for Gabby, but does opt to instead just try to burst down a big here if they do catch someone out. And additional pulses will help get that done. Boom in a very comfy position after such a tight game, 24-27, 19k lead, only the mid-rack standing between them and Mega Creeps. And for T1, they've got to find something. Oh my god, Penta Edge Sword as well for Jackie.
Yeah. Not only that, I mean, Spell Prism on Yopash with a refresher orb on the way, John. Very, very soon. It's scary dealing with that many remnants on that low of a cooldown. T1, I don't know what they can do now. Like, how do you fight back?
Condition is a good Vortex Ravage, right? Like, it's always been that condition since they had this Ags up, and we saw a little bit of that in the fight.
Oh, Gabby. He's been stunned up. They're forced to use the Ravage too early. They might find the Aegis, but this is exactly what Boom wants. He'll make the jump, and with a huge epicenter from FBZ to set up the fight, and now Carl's been caught out. Scam, it's a perfect beam trip from Boom Esports.
No
2 diebacks around, and that's GG. Game number 2 gonna go the way of Boom and John. We get our wish. Game 3 on the way between these 2 SEA Titans. And what a game 2 it was.
Yeah, that was such a tight match between these 2 teams. Again, you saw T1. They had a bit of an advantage. They were working really well. Boom. Look at Yopash. You said, you know, he'd be tipping around. Very calm. Unfaded. That's what you want to see. That's what you want to see from a player on a match that's very on edge. Reset to 0 slate. Calm down. Play the next game. And Boom's been able to get that mental reset really well. T1 play amazingly well. They go with the comfort pick Luna. Unfortunately, the scaling wasn't quite there. It feels like T1 had a window where their Luna was big enough that they could have chased in. In fact, that first Aegis for Gabby, T1 played a lot more defensive. And it felt like it was at that point where, you know, Boom was kind of jumping around. They were looking to be aggressive. They could have punished that with 2 lives on Gabby. Instead, they gave that opportunity for Boom to punish that slower play. And they just bounced back in, and they had no answer for that CK. It scales really well in the right circumstances. This was one of them.
It certainly was, John, and what a game it was. I'm so happy that we're going to a 3rd game between T1 and Boom Esports. And well, with that, we are going to head off to a very, very short break. And right after that break, we'll be back with our panel for game number 3. We'll see you then.